What began as a routine inspection at Riverside Animal Shelter quickly turned into a nightmare. One that would uncover a horrifying truth about what was happening to Max, a 3-month-old German Shepherd puppy. The abuse he suffered at the hands of a trusted shelter employee was heartbreaking, but what happened next restored faith in both humanity and justice. This is the true story of a puppy's courage, the heroes who saved him, and the downfall of one man's cruelty. Prepare for a journey that will break your heart, then heal it completely. Chapter 1. A Shelter of Hope. Riverside Animal Shelter in Portland, Oregon, had long been regarded as a beacon of hope for abandoned and stray animals. Housed in a converted warehouse on the edge of the city, the shelter was known for its bright yellow walls, spacious kennels, and devoted staff. It looked like everything an animal rescue should be. Max arrived on a cold February morning. A good Samaritan found him shivering behind a grocery store dumpster, just 3 months old, all ears and paws. His coat was black and tan, hinting at the majestic beauty he would one day grow into. His amber eyes held that innocent trust only puppies seem to possess. Despite his rough start, his tail wagged for anyone who approached. Dr. Sarah Chin, the head veterinarian, fell in love with him during his intake exam. "He's perfectly healthy," she told the intake coordinator, scratching behind his oversized ears. "Just malnourished and scared. With care and love, he'll make someone an incredible companion." Chapter 2. The Change. Max was placed in Kennel Block C, overseen by 34-year-old Marcus Webb, quiet and reserved. Webb had worked at the shelter for 2 years with no incidents. His references were solid. He fed the dogs, cleaned their kennels, and appeared competent. At first, Max adjusted well. He played with toys, wolfed down meals, and charmed everyone who passed his kennel. Several families had already expressed interest in adopting him. But in his second week, something changed. Max began withdrawing. The playful puppy who once greeted visitors now cowered in the back corner. His tail stopped wagging. His appetite dropped. He flinched at sudden movements. "He seems terrified," said Jessica Rodriguez, a volunteer. "Yesterday, he was learning to sit and shake. Today, he won't even come near me." Chapter 3. A Hidden Nightmare. Unbeknownst to the staff, Marcus Webb had been taking Max from his kennel during overnight shifts, when the shelter was closed. Security cameras had mysteriously stopped working 2 weeks earlier, and Webb volunteered to stay late to monitor the situation. During those nights, he subjected Max to unspeakable cruelty. The puppy's trust was shattered by the very man who was supposed to protect him. The psychological damage was becoming too obvious to ignore. Dr. Chin scheduled a follow-up examination. As she approached Max's kennel, she froze. Fresh bruises along his ribs. Max trembled violently during the exam. When she touched his hindquarters, he yelped, not just in pain, but in terror. "This isn't normal anxiety," Dr. Chin whispered, documenting each injury. "Someone's been hurting him." She made a decision. She would uncover the truth, no matter what it took. Chapter 4. The Stakeout. That evening, Dr. Chin told staff she was staying late to finish paperwork. In truth, she hid in the clinic's supply room, which had a window facing Kennel Block C. At 11:47 p.m., she saw it. Marcus Webb, flashlight in hand, entering the kennels. What she witnessed next would haunt her forever. Webb removed Max and led him to a back storage room, beyond the reach of cameras. She couldn't see what was happening, but she could hear it. Max's terrified whimpers, Webb's angry voice, the silence when it ended. When Webb returned Max to his kennel 30 minutes later, the puppy was limping and wouldn't look at him. Dr. Chin stayed up the rest of the night, documenting everything and preparing a plan to protect Max and expose Webb. Chapter 5. Bringing in the Law. The next morning, she met with Amanda Foster, the shelter's director. "Marcus has been here 2 years without incident," Amanda said, scanning his personnel file. "Are you sure?" Dr. Chin showed her the photos, the timing of Max's injuries, and behavioral changes. Then she added, 3 other dogs have shown similar patterns, all during Marcus's shifts. I don't think Max is his first victim." Amanda's face turned pale. "What do you need?" "We need to call animal control, and the police." Amanda nodded. "Consider it done. I'll call Detective Lisa Williams from the Animal Cruelty Unit. Marcus is scheduled tonight, but he won't get the chance to hurt anyone again. Chapter 6. The Trap. Detective Lisa Williams, a veteran of Portland's Animal Crimes Unit, acted fast. By noon, she was reviewing the evidence and setting a trap. "What you have is strong," she said, "but we need undeniable footage, video of him in the act." She brought in a surveillance team. Hidden infrared cameras were installed throughout the shelter, covering every blind spot. Meanwhile, Dr. Chin transferred Max to a medical isolation kennel, claiming he needed treatment. It was a cover to keep him safe. Veterinary behaviorist Drive, Patricia Morgan examined Max and confirmed the worst. "This kind of fear isn't natural," she said. "It's learned, conditioned. This puppy has been abused regularly." Chapter 7. Caught on camera. That night, everyone held their breath. At 9:58 p.m., Marcus Webb's car pulled into the parking lot. He had no idea his every move would be recorded. At 11:23 p.m., the cameras captured him removing a young pit bull named Luna and leading her into the same storage room. The footage was clear, detailed, and horrifying. From a surveillance van nearby, Detective Williams watched. "Move in now," she said into her radio. "We have everything we need." Moments later, Webb emerged, only to be surrounded by police. "I was just checking on the animals," he stammered. Detective Williams cut him off. "Marcus Webb, you're under arrest for animal cruelty in the first degree." Chapter 8. The Aftermath. News of the arrest broke within hours. Outrage swept the city. The hashtag justice for Max trended nationwide. Dr. Chin treated Luna's fresh injuries, coordinated rehab plans, and reviewed the footage, which revealed 8 victims over 6 months. Detective Williams dug into Webb's past. 2 former employers had quietly let him go after similar concerns. Webb was a serial abuser who had manipulated his way into shelters to continue his cruelty. District Attorney Jennifer Walsh took the case personally. Despite being offered a plea deal, Webb arrogantly chose trial. Chapter 9. The Trial. It lasted just 3 days. The prosecution presented the footage, medical records, expert testimony, staff accounts. Dr. Chin's testimony was devastating. She recounted finding Max's bruises, the behavioral changes, and the stakeout that exposed everything. When the surveillance video played showing Webb attacking Luna, 2 jurors cried. The jury took only 47 minutes to reach a unanimous verdict. Guilty. 8 counts of first-degree animal cruelty, 8 counts of causing unnecessary suffering, 1 count of employment fraud. Chapter 10. Justice served. Judge Patricia Morrison delivered the sentence. "Mr. Webb," she said, "you betrayed the voiceless. You preyed on those who depended on your care. There is no excuse for what you've done." Webb received 4 years in state prison, and a lifetime ban from working with animals. The next morning, Riverside Shelter felt transformed. The heavy, invisible weight had lifted. Dr. Chin arrived early and went to see Max. He stood when she approached, tail cautiously wagging. She knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. "You're safe now," she whispered. And for the first time in weeks, Max believed it. Max's journey. From victim to hero. The rehabilitation kennel was designed specifically for traumatized animals. Max's recovery had been slow but steady. 3 weeks after Marcus Webb's arrest, the young German Shepherd was finally beginning to show glimpses of the playful puppy he had been before the abuse. Dr. Chin had worked closely with Dr. Patricia Morgan, a veterinary behaviorist, to develop a comprehensive rehabilitation program focused on rebuilding Max's trust in humans. "Trust is like a delicate flower," Dr. Morgan explained to the shelter staff during a training session. "Once it's been crushed, it takes patience, consistency, and unconditional love to help it bloom again." The rehabilitation process involved multiple dedicated volunteers who spent hours simply sitting near Max's kennel, reading books aloud or working on laptops, allowing him to gradually become comfortable with human presence again. Slowly, Max began to approach the kennel door when volunteers arrived. Eventually, he started wagging his tail, tentatively at first, then with growing enthusiasm. Luna, the pit bull who had been Webb's final victim, was recovering even more quickly. Her injuries were less severe, and her naturally resilient personality helped her bounce back with remarkable speed. Within 2 weeks of Webb's arrest, Luna was playing fetch and seeking belly rubs from the staff, showing no lasting trauma from her ordeal. Other animals Webb had abused responded to their rehabilitation programs with varying degrees of success. Rusty, an elderly golden retriever and one of Webb's earliest victims, required the most intensive therapy, but even he began showing improvement under the patient care of the shelter's enhanced trauma recovery program. Amanda Foster used the media attention surrounding the case to launch an ambitious fundraising campaign called the Healing Hearts Initiative. The community response was overwhelming. Donations poured in from across the country, allowing the shelter to hire additional staff, upgrade facilities, and implement comprehensive background screening measures designed to ensure that no one like Marcus Webb could ever harm vulnerable animals again. Every dark cloud has a silver lining, Amanda told a local news reporter. Webb's cruelty was horrible, but it's led to improvements that will protect thousands of animals in the future. Dr. Chin found herself at the center of the animal welfare community's efforts to reform shelter protocols nationwide. She was invited to speak at conferences, consult with other facilities, and help develop new standards for animal protection. But her heart remained at Riverside, especially with Max. A family steps forward. One afternoon, while reviewing Max's progress notes, Dr. Chin noticed a familiar car pulling into the shelter parking lot. Emma and David Rodriguez emerged with their 2 young children, Sophia, 8, and Carlos, 6. The family had been following Max's story in the news and had contacted the shelter about adoption. "We know he's been through trauma," Emma explained to Dr. Chin. "We have experience with rescue animals, and we're prepared to give him all the time and patience he needs to heal." Dr. Chin felt a surge of hope as she watched the Rodriguez family interact with Max. The children sat quietly on the floor of his kennel area, allowing Max to approach them at his own pace. When Max finally worked up the courage to sniff Sophia's outstretched hand, and his tail gave a small wag, there wasn't a dry eye among the watching staff. "I think," Dr. Chin said softly, "this might be the beginning of Max's real healing." The evaluation process would take time, but for the first time since Webb's abuse began, Max's future looked bright. A new beginning. 2 months after Marcus Webb's sentencing, Max was ready for his new life. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The cowering, traumatized puppy who once flinched at every human movement had blossomed into a confident, loving dog who sought out affection and play. Dr. Chin conducted the final evaluation to determine if Max was ready to be adopted by the Rodriguez family. Watching him play fetch with Sophia in the shelter's outdoor area, she could barely recognize him. "His recovery has exceeded all our expectations," Dr. Chin told Emma and David. "The behavioral modifications and intensive socialization therapy helped him overcome most of his trauma. He'll always need patient, understanding owners, but he's absolutely ready for a loving home." The Rodriguez family had spent the past 2 months preparing. They attended trauma recovery training with Dr. Morgan, puppy-proofed their home, and even consulted with their children's school counselor to help Sophia and Carlos understand their roles in Max's healing. "We're not just adopting a dog," David told Drive Chin. "We're welcoming a survivor into our family, and we want to do it right." The farewell. Max's adoption day arrived with celebration and bittersweet emotions. The entire Riverside staff gathered to say goodbye to the puppy who had become a symbol of resilience and hope. Dr. Chin had prepared a comprehensive care package with Max's medical records, behavioral notes, and a specially formulated nutrition plan. As the Rodriguez family completed the adoption paperwork, Max sat calmly beside Emma, his amber eyes sparkling with trust and anticipation. "He knows he's going home," said Jessica Rodriguez, the volunteer who had worked with Max since the beginning. "Look at his body language. He's relaxed and confident. This is the Max we always knew was inside." As the family loaded him into the car, with a new collar bearing his name, the staff applauded and wiped away tears. Dr. Chin knelt beside him one last time. "You did it, brave boy," she whispered, scratching his favorite spot. "You survived, you healed, and now you get the life you always deserved." Max's tail wagged enthusiastically as the car pulled away, leaving Riverside behind. Full circle. 3 weeks later, Dr. Chin received a photo she would treasure forever. Max lying in a sunny patch of grass in his new backyard. Sophia and Carlos curled up beside him, sound asleep. The message from Emma read, "Max has found his pack. Thank you for never giving up on him." That same day, Dr. Chin received news that Marcus Webb's case had inspired statewide legislative reforms strengthening animal protection laws. Max's story of survival had not only touched thousands, but helped protect countless animals to come. 1 year later, a year after Max's adoption, the Rodriguez home had become a beacon of what love and patience can accomplish. Max had grown into a magnificent dog whose protective and gentle nature made him the perfect companion for Sophia and Carlos. Dr. Chin regularly received updates, but nothing prepared her for the invitation she found in her mailbox that September morning. "You're invited to Max's first adoption anniversary and therapy dog graduation." Emma had been working with Max for months toward therapy dog certification. The idea began when they noticed how naturally he connected with children and adults struggling with trauma. The celebration took place in the Rodriguez backyard, decorated in Max's favorite colors, blue and gold. Max, now 85 pounds of muscle and grace, moved through the guests with confidence, calm even around the smallest children. "Watch this," Sophia said proudly, demonstrating Max's advanced commands. He responded with flawless obedience, his eyes bright with joy and trust. A true healer. During the ceremony, Emma shared a powerful story. Last month, Max visited a children's hospital. There was a boy who hadn't spoken since a car accident took his parents. Max laid his head on his lap and looked up with those understanding eyes, and the boy said his first words in 3 months. He whispered, "Good dog, Max." Tears streamed down Chin's face as she listened to story after story of Max's healing work. Detective Williams, present for the event, handed Max a commendation from the Portland Police Department. "Max represents the best outcome in our animal cruelty cases, not just justice for the victim, but healing, and a chance to make the world better." As the sun set, Dr. Chin sat with Max in a quiet corner. He rested his head in her lap, calm, content, utterly at peace. "You did more than survive, Max," she whispered. "You've taught all of us what resilience really means." Emma approached with an envelope. "It's from all the families Max has helped," she said. "We wanted you to know, your decision to fight for him created ripples of healing." Inside was a photo collage of Max surrounded by children and adults he had comforted, along with letters of gratitude. At the center was a simple message: "Thank you for saving the dog who saved us all." As Dr. Chin drove home that evening, she reflected on Max's journey, from terror to triumph, from broken to whole. Marcus Webb was in prison. But Max was free. Free to love. Free to heal. Free to be the dog he was always meant to be. Justice had been served, but love had triumphed. And from the darkest moments, hope had risen.
If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.